Now in its sixth year, the Proudly South African and Buy Local Summit Expo is an important event that calls on the public and the private sector, government as well as ordinary consumers to actively promote locally produced goods and services. Today, it's the second day of the new day, I'll beg your pardon, of the summit. But Leanne is there, she's in Sandton for the latest on this, so we say good morning to her. It's over to you, Leanne. All right, it seems as if we're still trying to get hold of Leanne, but yeah, she is in Sandton for the Proudly South African and Buy Local Summit, an expo that is taking place in Sandton, this year being in its sixth year. That is where Leanne will be live from for the entire show here on Morning Live. Lee, good morning.
All right, a very good morning to South Africa and to Palesa and everyone else in studio. It's good to be coming to you live this morning from the Sandton Convention Centre, where the Proudly SA Summit enters into day 2. This, of course, is a summit where you get all of the Proudly SA brands gathering together to showcase their stuff, and also a gathering of intellectuals and heads to talk about being Proudly SA. What does it mean, and what does that brand on a product actually represent? Well, that's what we'll be talking about this morning, as well as a lot more. And there is no way that we can ignore what happened last night when South Africa was downgraded by S&P to junk status. This is going to have a very big effect on every single one of the people that are here at this exhibition, and we'll hopefully get a chance to talk to them as well. Well, let's take this a little bit further, and joining me here on the program, we've got Eustive Mashimbye. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Proudly SA. So nice to have you on the program. Welcome.
Thank you, Leanne. Thank you for having me.
And also Sizwe Jantjie, who is the GM of Sales at Tsogo. Gentlemen, well, Sizwe, gentlemen, what am I saying here? I'm just looking at the two dapper men that I'm joined by. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much, Leanne.
All right, so let's talk about the summit. How's it been? It started yesterday, obviously continuing today.
Look, it's been wonderful. The turnout from the SMEs that joined us yesterday was incredible. The discussions and as well as the insight that was gained by the SMEs that attended, because yesterday we focused purely on SME development. Because remember, Proudly South African is about making sure that there's market access opportunities for those SMEs that affiliate with us. Because as a buy local campaign, we have to first look within the borders of South Africa to make sure that we get those markets for those SMEs. Because it's one thing to be in business, but if there's no one to buy from you, it defeats the purpose. So the idea behind day one was to make sure that we create some sort of a market for the SMEs, whilst capacitating them by bringing in-house financing and non-financing agencies, both from the public and the private sector. So it has gone well so far. Today we focus purely on local procurement issues, by making sure that we talk to those decision makers in the public sector as well as decision makers in the private sector to make sure that they support local manufacturers, because the idea behind Proudly South African as a buy local campaign is to create jobs by making sure that people buy what is locally made, so that those companies that manufacture those products can retain the jobs that they have in their companies. Indeed. And we can create new jobs in the process.
Yeah, and the worry now is when we're looking at the economic state of South Africa, and we're seeing the first downgrade coming through by one of the ratings agencies, and this, at the end of the day, is going to have a dire effect on jobs, and it's going to have an effect on people's incomes, and it's going to have an effect on everything. I mean, it doesn't leave anybody out. Now, being, part of a major South African company, I mean, Tsogo, and we support Tsogo. We do. Many people are staying there. But we need South Africans to continue to do this in this environment. I mean, you're a huge job creator at the end of the day.
Definitely. We have 18,000 people who work for us. And just, looking at why we're involved in such a summit is that, if you really think about it, as Tsogo, we are the number one in terms of empowerment on the JSE in our industry. Yeah. And then when you start talking about, we're level 2 contributor in terms of this, in terms of BEE. So for us, this is really important that, besides just looking and being involved in a summit, what is it that we bring to the table as a South African company?
And that's, I think, what's so important is that as South African companies, we need to step up to the plate and ensure that we do things right, because it's a very tough environment. I want to get back to this junk status, because I think that is going to be the whispering and the talking through the corridors here today, no matter what way you look at it. How is it going to affect businesses locally?
Look, I think especially because there is a negative outlook, if you look at the review that was given by S&P, besides the junk status, they're saying it's negative outlook if you look at the future. So that's why we have to all, contribute to the growth of this economy by making sure that and that's our cause, and that's what we stand for, to make sure that we all then start making purchasing decisions in favor of locally manufactured products and services. What are those things that we can do as a country that will help grow the economy? What are those things that we can do as a country that will help create jobs? And it's a simple one, in that, the procurement decisions, especially with large procurement decisions being made, can we then all take the responsibility that we have towards the growth of the economy by making sure that we start making those decisions of buying in favor of locally manufactured products and services.
Yeah.
You can't run away from the fact that it will affect us.
Yeah.
So what are those things that we can do?
Yeah.
And this platform seeks to talk about those things. The summit is a full-day conference where we have political heads, we have captains of industry, all gathered in the room to talk about ways in which we can use local procurement to contribute to the growth of the economy, the growing of the tax base, as well as the creation of jobs. So this is one of those platforms. Maybe the timing is perfect as well, in that it happens or the day after the junk status thing has come out, and it gives us an opportunity to reflect on some of those things that we can do, things that are within our control as well.
All right. Gentlemen, we have to leave it there for this morning, but thank you for talking to us. I know Tsogo-san, a proud sponsor of this particular summit, and of course our CEO talking to us here on the program, and that was Eustive Mashimbye, who's the CEO of Proudly South Africa, and Sizwe Jantjie, who's the GM of sales of Tsogo-san. Let's go back to the Johannesburg studio. Even though we're broadcasting here in Johannesburg, we'll go back to the studio and we'll see you a bit later.